Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of the Cardone Solutions Podcast. I am your host. My name is David Bradley, Senior Sales and Marketing Manager with Grant Cardone's office. Now, what do we do on the Cardone Solutions Podcast? It is very simple. Service is always senior to selling. Give. Two very core tenements at Cardone Training Technologies, taken right out of Grant's first book, Sell or Be Sold. What I do is I like to take Grant's content, things that he sends out in emails, blog posts, articles he's writing, maybe a Facebook post or a tweet, something he's throwing up on the gram. I'm going to take it, I'm going to extract some value from it, I'm going to attach some action ideas to it, maybe throw a little bit of my own spin on there, and then give it to you so that you can take it and then plug it into your sales, your business, and your life. 80% of what we do here is 100% free. So I want to make sure that the content we're putting out there is getting to you and delivering real value that you're applying into what? Your sales, your business, and your life. So today we're going to be talking about the top five COVID-19 problems in business. And before I get into it, before I give you the top five, because I will, I'm just going to list them off and then we'll break them down, okay? But before I do that, here's one thing I want to make sure that I get covered right out of the gate. Number one, thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate it. You've got a lot of choices in what to listen to. There are a gazillion podcasts out there, so the fact that you've chosen mine and that you're listening to it, much appreciated. With that said, have you subscribed? If not, please subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Secondly, if you know somebody who could benefit from this, who could literally gain knowledge, better themselves in their sales, business, and life, please make sure that you've shared it with them. And if you don't, share it anyway, because if they stumble on it and they listen to it and it benefits them, then you've helped them. Okay, so please get this out there so that other people can benefit from it as well. But let's just dive into today's topic. Okay, you ready? Let's go. There are 5 key, top, major, massive problems that any business is going to face. And if you were on the podcast the 2 episodes ago, I think it was, we talked about what a business owner is. And if you're not clear on the definition on who qualifies as a business owner, then make sure you go review that one when you're done here, okay? But the bottom line is we're all business owners to some degree, okay? And there's 5 key problems that a business owner is going to experience. And in fact, these problems existed before COVID-19, but now they're even worse. So if you're in business at any level, okay, that means what? That means you're a delivery driver. That means that you're actually laid off right now. That means that you're a customer service rep, you're in sales, mid-level management, you're the CEO. These are your problems, okay? And you want to start looking for ways to have solutions to them, that you can solve them for yourself, solve them for the department that you're in, and then solve them for your company, okay? And right now, more than ever, you literally just cannot get stuck in the idea that it's not my job. Or, well, that's so-and-so's problem. Like, you can't have it, okay? It's a problem, and it's yours. Take ownership of it and figure it out. Because the mindset of it's somebody else's issue, it's not my problem, that is holding you back. And the last thing you want right now is to be held back, okay? So I'm going to list the 5 off first. I'll bang those out, and then we'll break down each one of them, and then I'll give you a solution. You ready? Here we go. Your top 5 COVID-19 problems in business are these. Number 1, disengaged employees who are not motivated. 2, advertising doesn't convert, or it converts just enough to justify the expense. Barely, or maybe not even. But the advertising doesn't do what it's supposed to. That's the bottom line on that. 3rd thing, turnover. Number 4, poor company culture. And then the 5th one is too much time spent on admin and operation stuff. So let's break them down simply, quickly, okay? And then we'll look at a few solutions for each thing. All right, you ready? I keep asking, are you ready? You must be ready at this point, so let's go. Number 1, remember what it was? It was disengaged employees who are not motivated. So step 1 here is 100% on you, regardless of where you sit in the company, okay? You want to make sure, first and foremost, that you are doing what you need to do to get and stay motivated, and that's a behavior that you have to do every single day. Motivation is like gas in a car. Meaning what? Meaning you run out of it and you have to continue to fill that tank. So you have a tank somewhere in your body that is motivation. If it is low, you must fill it up. And if you're not getting yourself motivated every single day, how in the heck can you expect others to be or to get motivated? So you want to set the tone. You want to lead by example, lead from the front. You want to be the example. Because why? Well, attitudes are contagious. In fact, they're more contagious than any virus out there right now. Wouldn't you agree? I know you do. Number 2 was this: advertising does not convert enough to justify the expense. Now, little twist of thinking here, little change of thought on this for you. A little FYI, according to Grant's going to tell you that it's not the ad that's the problem. And if people showed up, then the ad worked. The question is, are you trained and skilled up so you can convert the ad? If you take a look at 1,000 people, maybe 1 or 2%, they're sales ready. They don't need anything. They're ready to go. Let's, done. Sign me up. Okay. 30% of the 1,000, okay, they're not going to do it no matter what you do. The rest, however, they're going to need some help. That means 64% of buyers are going to need to be sold and closed. And that's going to require skill development in fact finding, presenting, closing, and following up. Both in person and now, especially on the phone and virtually. Okay? Number 3. Number 3 is turnover. This is one of my hot buttons. This is something that kind of grinds my gears. I hate to see high turnover in a company. It's not. There's a dichotomy there. Okay, you want the right people there, and if they're not right, then you need to move them out as quickly as you can. Okay, but here's the deal: turnover. It's kind of like high blood pressure. It's the silent killer. Turnover is one of the most prolific problems in business today. The average bad hire could cost a company upwards of $25,000. Okay, how does that happen? It's not just what you spend on training and recruiting and finding and paying and all of that stuff. It's the residual effect on a customer base. Have you ever done that math? Right? You got a total negative person and he's interacting with your customers for 6 months before he finally blows out. What did he do to your base? So it's probably significantly more than $25,000, okay? And most companies are going to wind up spending 5 times more on hiring somebody than they will on what? Proper training. So for a company or yourself, if you're new, to ensure success in the first 90 days, you have to consider the expense as a business owner, okay? And you have to do what is necessary to ensure that their first 90 days on the job is successful. And that first 90 days is critical. It reduces, when they win in those 90 days, it reduces turnover. You have higher employee retention and greater employee loyalty down the road. Okay, and in an economic contraction, the people who that get laid off, they're the people who aren't essential. Okay, who gets laid off? People that aren't participating in generating revenue. So if you want to try and maintain your job, solidify it, be a revenue generator. That makes you invaluable, okay? And the number one reason people are going to quit something is because they're not getting results. And the number one reason people don't get results, they don't know what they're doing. Too simple, huh? Okay, fourth thing is poor company culture. So again, sorry, hate to do it to you, but this will always start with you two, regardless of your position, okay? Once you recognize that, hey, the buck stops here, you can then move into spreading out and influence. So Stephen R. Covey talks a lot about this. He in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about proactivity and your circle of influence versus your circle of concern. The circle of concern is stuff that is important or has some concern for you, but you have zero influence on it. So he talks about identifying what your circle of influence is, which always starts with you and your attitude and your thoughts and your decisions and your actions. And when you put all of your attention on the things that you have control over, you know what winds up happening? That circle of influence, it starts to radiate out. So as you start thinking about, how can I create a 10x culture and mentality in my office? Because you feel like you might be outnumbered by people who are thinking small, they're not working to their potential, right? Then the first thing you got to do is you got to get your think big, and you got to start working towards your potential. And then ultimately people are going to be like, hey man, what's got into you? How do you do what you do? Can you help me out? And it starts to grow. Okay, remember that. Fifth and final, okay? Too much admin and operations. Have you ever been in a sales meeting that lasted like forever and had nothing to do with nothing? I think we all have. Right? Just keeps going and going, and we're talking about who did this and who didn't do that and what forms you got to fill out right and all of that. Just, man. Okay? So, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but there's a common thread in these 5. And the common thread is that leadership starts from the inside out. So your house must be in order. And Grant says that you need to teach your people how to drive the top line. The top line is revenue, okay? And you want to spend 90% of your activity working on revenue, and then 10% on admin and operations and that stuff. So the question becomes, how can you make sure that the leadership in the team is properly developing the salespeople? If there's too much admin and operation stuff and not enough skill development, nobody's going to have what it takes, or the motivation for that matter, to actually hit targets, okay? If you want people more motivated, skill them up, because when they know what they're doing, they're more inclined to do it when they're certain and they're confident about it, right? So this is what will get them to actually hit targets. This is what will get them to focus on the top line, which is driving more revenue. And since we're all business owners, that should be your number one focus anyway. So what's the solution? What is the solution to COVID-19 new problems in business, which are actually old problems that are now just totally magnified? Okay? If you're a manager or a leader, you have a sales team, you're listening to this message right now, thank you for being here, first of all. Secondly, we have a very specific and highly effective process for creating a 10X culture. And it puts way more attention on revenue creation through skill development, which is consequently triggers more engagement from salespeople and employees, also helps keep people motivated, and that in turn reduces turnover. This is the process that we use in Cardone Training Technologies, and I'm happy to just share it with you and then help you find some ways to start implementing these things into your company. And then I'm also happy to show you how Cardone University, hint, hint, makes implementing the formula way easier, ridiculously easy, okay? The formula works with or without Cardone University, but Cardone University certainly helps make it simple, effective, trackable, measurable, right? Okay, now for salespeople and employees, as in the macro, so in the micro, okay? If your company isn't on board with this, remember, just like I said a minute ago, it's an inside-out approach. The formula that I would share with a manager would work for you too as an individual. It will work for you as an army of one. So if you'd like to learn the formula while getting some access to Cardone University, go to this website for me, cardonesolutions.com/10x your team. That's cardonesolutions.com/10x your team. Who's the team? Okay, if you're a leader, it's you and your guys and gals. Okay, if you're a single salesperson or employee, you're the team. You're the team. Okay, and let's 10x the team. Okay, and will you let me help you do it? Because I'd love to. Okay, this has been another exciting episode of the Cardone Solutions podcast. Thank you again for being here. Much appreciated. Make sure to share it out with folks. Make sure you've subscribed. And in the words of Grant Cardone, I'll leave you with this. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Be great. because nothing else pays.